Hey babes, welcome back to the Grace Reading Vlog Cinematic Universe. I literally finished filming the end of the last reading vlog 12 and a half seconds ago. And guess what? We're starting the next one. Because I ran out of time reading these books and I had to stick to my upload schedule. And basically, we are out here reading the next book. I am about to start it. I have started it actually, I lied. I started this a few days ago, but I haven't really made any freaking progress, which is why I needed to end the video where I did. I haven't even introduced the concept. My brain is still in the other video. Hi, welcome to this video. It's me reading books that my subscribers suggested to me, part 2. Anyways, the first book on the docket is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This was suggested to me by Amara, who's actually a moderator in my Discord community. If you haven't joined, feel free to check it out. It's all about no buy, living intentionally, saving money, doing cute things like that. Everyone talking and have a good time about it. We have a really similar reading vibe. I feel like we both read the ACOTAR series around the same time this year and had really, really similar thoughts about it. So every time Amara is like, oh, this book is blah, 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 we always tend to have really similar thoughts. So I'm excited about this one. I have a little bit of high expectations, which maybe that's a fool on my part, because I know a lot of people have different mixed experiences with this book. A lot of people say it's kind of on the more boring side. A lot of people say it's a little slow. It's just not their vibe. I don't really know yet. It seems to be going a little slow so far. I think I'm, how many pages in? I'm 26 pages in, okay? So we're still starting out. And it seems to be interesting so far. Like, I'm intrigued with the way that it's being set up, but it's taking a second to like get any information so far. It's pretty vague, but the writing is good. Essentially, just to give you a little recap of what's going on in this book, actually nothing has happened so far, really. There's a little girl. She's the daughter of this magician, which this isn't a spoiler because you find out on like page 3 about this information or earlier. This other magician is like, hey, we should do something. I don't know exactly what they're doing. Maybe it's like a duel or like an apprenticeship thing. I don't really know, but they're magicians, like real ones. They actually have magic. They're not just like circus magicians. One of them is, but anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is probably making no fucking sense. They're both magicians. One of them works for the circus, has a daughter. He's gonna train her up. He thinks she's gonna be really powerful. And then the other guy's like, bro, watch this. Let me get someone and I bet you I could be better than you. I bet my little trainee could do better than your daughter. So I think that's the whole point. He's getting someone, he's training him up. And my guess, my hope, the little romantic in me is that there's a little bit of a rivals to lovers situation, but I don't know if it's that kind of book. I don't know if it's a romance. I'm hoping that it is, but we'll see. I won't be upset if it's not. I will be a little upset if it's not. I can't lie. I love a romance. I love a romance subplot. I love a romance forefront plot, if I'm being completely honest. I would love to do a video that is just reading romance books. I would get through like 5 in a week. I don't care. This one, I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I'm excited to see where it goes. That's the update. That's the beginning of this video. Can you tell that I'm amped right now? I'm like feral at the moment. I spent most of the morning doing absolutely nothing, and now I'm full of energy like a fucking squirrel or something. Anyways, that's all I've read so far. So I'll update you as I continue to find out what the heck is going on in this book. But of course, no spoilers because I would never do that to you guys, okay? Maybe once in a blue moon I'll do a spoiler video, but maybe on a series that has like already existed for a while. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you in a sec when I read more of this book. Okay, y'all, I am almost 50% of the way through the night circus, and I really like it so far. It is definitely a bit slower, more atmospheric. There's not really like a ton going on, but at the same time, I feel very immersed in the world, and I feel like the plot is kind of moving forward and things are happening. So I'm definitely interested to see where this goes from here, and I'm having a good time. I'm wondering if or where or when this might blossom into romance. I don't know. Anyways, I'm interested to see. I'm excited. So far, I'm really liking it. Okay, this is a quick update because I'm 63% through the book, and obviously that is not very much time since the last time I updated, but I fear that something that I've guessed about the, romance in this is gonna happen, and I don't know how it's gonna end. I have a bad suspicion that I do know how it's gonna end, but I don't know. So far, I really like it. I like every time that there's a little glimpse of romance, I'm just like, give me more. But in general, I really like the book. It's really sweet. I feel like there's 2 little romance subplots that are going on in it, which is really cute. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. Okay, y'all, I do not have my camera, but it's fine. I will still record the thoughts of this first book. So, first book that I've read in this video is The Night Circus. And it makes me so sad that people did not have the same experience that I did when reading it, because of the thoughts that I've heard from multiple different people seem to be pretty split down the center, like 50-50, like really wasn't for me, or like, wow, it was really good. I firmly fall in the latter camp, which is that I really enjoyed the book. So first of all, 100% Amara, you came through, of course. Why was I expecting anything less? And I think a huge reason why I enjoyed it as much as I did is because so obviously the whole story is like set around this concept and idea and setting of a circus that pops up at night and is kind of like mystical and magical, and people go there and they're kind of just like lost. They can explore wherever they want. They find things. It's just like a place to go and explore and just kind of create your own adventure. And the way that this author was writing about this was so familiar to me in terms of like the way that she was describing things, the way that she was describing how things made her feel in terms of like the circus and like the people that were going to watch versus the people that were performing, and like the plots of the pitting against of 2 characters, which you find out really, really early on that that's kind of the plot of the book. So I promise I'm not spoiling anything. But essentially, the way that it was described, it was really similar to an experience that I had at a production called Sleep No More. And turns out the author of this book has been to Sleep No More like 10 times and was heavily influenced by Punch Drunk, the people that created Sleep No More, and like their style of doing things and having interactive theater experiences. I don't know how much longer it's gonna last, but they're in like an old hotel in New York, and it's taken up like several floors. It's across like lots of different rooms and areas and things, and I had the very amazing honor and privilege of going because one of my dear friends works there, and I had a wonderful, wonderful time. It was so magical, so mystical, so interesting. There was something going on everywhere you turned. The detail was so incredible, and I just felt so immersed in this world. It felt magical. Like when you left, you kind of were like, whoa, like where am I? What's happening? I thought it was an incredible experience, and I feel like when I was reading The Night Circus, I was getting that same vibe, like that same feeling. And yes, it was a little bit slow at some points, but I feel like the way that they really immersed you into the world and into the situations, I really liked the way that they described things. I kind of liked that there was a point, but there wasn't a point, but everything felt so magical and so like weighted and important in its own thing, you know? I don't know, sometimes I'm totally in the mood for a slower to medium paced book, and sometimes I'm really not. It kind of just depends. For me, the plot was strong enough to really hold me along, although it did take me a little while to finish this book. I really, really, really personally enjoyed it a lot. I would highly recommend if you're into like a mystical, magical, atmospheric, little bit of mystery, little bit of romance, a little bit of magic, you know, it's really fun. It's super cool. And it's just felt very artistic and theatrical, you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed this book. I'm off to the next one. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to read next. It's kind of just at the whims of my library cards, essentially. But I will update you guys with the review at the end of the video, as always. All right, I'm finally back on my camera, back in New York. I don't know if I explained it in the last couple of clips, but I was in Virginia visiting Ray's mom just to get away from the city for a little bit and like take a breather because I've been working 24/7 for a long time. Let's see. I am just going onto my library app right now because I actually got the next book in audiobook form. So I'm going to tackle that ginormous pile of dishes that is existing over there, taking some advice from some of the comments that I got today on my video that I just posted, to just like make a ritual of it, put on a podcast, do what you gotta do. Like, I would rather just finish this and then doing what I need to do because I really want these out of the way by the end of today. But now, here's the hard part. The actual not hard part, but it's literally me deciding how I'm gonna say this, because obviously the whole thing is Spanish. I'm just making this so much more dramatic than it needs to be. But I'm like, it feels weird to be like, hi, my next book is Violeta by Isabel Allende. Like a freaking person that doesn't know Spanish when I actually kind of do. But now I've hyped myself up too much and I'm embarrassed. So that's the book. Okay, I have heard about, I'm pretty sure this is also by the same author, The House of the Spirits or House of Spirits. My school actually did it as a play a couple of years ago. I didn't end up getting to go see it because it literally ended up having opening weekend the same weekend that everything shut down. So they ended up performing it to an audience of nobody and they filmed it, and I just never got a chance to watch the filmed version. I don't know exactly where the film version is, but anyways, long story short, I've heard a lot of really wonderful things about this author and I'm really excited. I'm sad that I don't know enough Spanish to listen to the entire thing in its original language, but I'm sure that the translator did a wonderful and beautiful job. I don't know if whoever translated it is in the information. I want to see the information. Tell me information. Okay, hold on. Frances Riddle. Of course it is. My girl. So, the thing about Frances Riddle is I read a book called A Little Luck by, I'm literally forgetting her name. I want to say it's Claudia something, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll put Claudia Pinheiro. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going back to saying it like a white person because I'm honestly a little nervous about saying things. Honestly, I don't think my accent is bad. I'm literally like, I need to just shut up about it. Anyways, whatever, guys, shut up. Okay. So Frances Riddle is really talented, and I read the translated version of Claudia Pinero's book, A Little Luck, translated by Frances Riddle. I watched a whole ass video by Jack Edwards about the fact that translators should be mentioned just as important as the authors of the book, and I'm honestly sad that I saw it after the fact when I had already talked my praises about A Little Luck, because honestly, yeah, it's an art to translate a book to have the same kind of vibe and like beauty and lyricalness as the original version. And obviously, if you can't speak the language that the book was originally written in, or you don't know enough of it to like actually read it and comprehend the whole thing, I feel like it's really important to get a translator to keep that same energy when you're reading or listening to a book. And yeah, we just have to like put some respect on a translator's name, you know what I mean? So anyways, this is Violeta by Isabel Allende, translated by Frances Riddle. Okay, so I'm really excited to listen to this book. I'm sure that it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to read the rest of her books because I've only heard literally amazing things about them. So hopefully this is the beautiful love affair with the rest of Isabel's books. So there's crazy wind going on outside right now. That doesn't matter. It's okay. Anyways, I'm gonna get to some dishes and start reading this book, well, listening to it. I'm really excited. I'll let you guys know when I have a little update, okay? It's a 12-hour audiobook, but I'm gonna read it or listen. Why do I keep saying read? I'm gonna listen to it on 1.6 speed for now. I usually stick to about 1.6. Anyways, 1.6, my designated listening speed. How about you guys? What do you guys listen to your audiobooks? What speed do you listen to your audiobooks? Let's actually get to reading the book now. I feel like I've wasted so much time blabbering. Should I just restart this clip and film it again? Maybe. No, I mean, this is the brand of the channel. It's chaotic, okay? Welcome here if you've never been. It's a little chaotic over here, okay? Anyways, I'm gonna get to listening. Bye. Okay, I've done some dishes. The drying rack is now full, so I'm gonna take a little pause. And I've listened to about 20 minutes of this book so far, and I really had no idea what this book was about going in. I did not look up the summary. I kind of just was like, okay, get it, let's go. And oof, it's this woman, Violeta, writing letters to someone. We don't know who it is yet. It's clearly someone that she loves, probably a family member, in the year 2020. So it's kind of crazy because the first thing that she launches into is the whole pandemic in 1920, because that's the year that she was born. And she was talking about, she's basically like explaining her life story in these letters, is what I'm gathering from the book. And literally so far the first 20 minutes has been like a little bit about her family, and it literally launches straight into the Spanish flu pandemic. And the things that are explained about the Spanish flu are so eerie and similar to the things that happened during the pandemic that we have all just experienced. The Spanish flu was really devastating because obviously 100 years ago science is not up to where we are at now, and it was really traumatic for the whole world. So just be aware of that if you want to read this book. Like, it starts off hot with pandemic talk, and yeah, it's really eerily familiar and eerily relatable, and there are obviously certain things that are slightly different because this is taking place in a different country. I actually don't know which country it's taking place in. South American home. Yes, I gathered as much, but what country specifically? Do you tell me? No. Okay, well, it takes place in South America. We could have guessed that. Anyways, crazy. Super good so far. I'm excited to see the rest of her life story, but it's also just so crazy that she's like writing these letters in 2020. I'm assuming like on her deathbed nearly, because she's literally is 100 years old at the point because she was born in 1920. But like, it's so crazy that like in real life, if she was actually writing those letters in 2020, she would be writing them in a pandemic also, which is like crazy to me. And I'm just gonna take the beginning of this book slow because it's very pandemic heavy and it's kind of heavy. It's hard to listen to, but you know, it's really interesting. The way that she writes is already so beautiful. I'm really excited. So far, thumbs up. I am allegedly 67% of the way through this book. It's definitely kind of like a slow to medium pace, atmospheric kind of read. The plot is very interesting because she's just telling you stories about her life, and the thing about that is that, like, obviously she's not a real person. However, it's kind of like a historical fiction, like a historical literary fiction, and I feel like Isabel as a writer generally just kind of like focuses on families and like that kind of like dynamic because it's really important in South America and like Latin culture especially. Like the family unit is very important, and like heritage and what's the word that I'm trying to think of? Legacy? Yeah. Legacy and stuff like that, like honor, all of that stuff is very important, especially like back in this older times or whatever, because the book is spanning from 1920 to 2020. I think we're maybe in the 70s or the 80s right now in this book at the moment. But anyways, it's really good, very interesting. And like I was saying before, it's kind of like historical fiction, very much in the way that like it's giving you information about like actual historical events that are going on. So the actual book is not taking place in a named South American country. It's kind of just like a homogenous, oh, she always says like in my country or in our country or like whatever. And she's mentioning stuff about like other countries in South America and like things that have gone on and like politics, and how these things have come into her life and touched her life and shaped and molded her life as well because of the way that laws are, the way that like imperialism and colonialism have affected a lot of South American countries, and, you know, US interventionism and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because I feel like I'm also getting a bit of a refresher on like history and learning a couple of new things about like South American history as well. I'm really liking it so far. It's super cool. If you're a fan of historical fiction, I 100% recommend this book. Super duper interesting. So that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Oh my gosh. I'm not done with the book yet, but just like a really sad part happened. It's just like so fucked up. Like so many things that have happened. It's so insane. The horrendous crimes against humanity that governments have been able to get away with for so many years. If you like politics, read this book. I know that it's not set in like a real official country, but like the stories are from all over the place, you know? Like it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different experiences and things that, you know, went on in South America during the past century. The US destabilized so many countries in South America. Like it's unbelievable. And then we sit here and complain about migrants. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, let me not get too political because I'm just gonna get angry and upset. So I'm just gonna keep reading this book and finish the dishes and fold some laundry or whatever. But yeah, it's just really sad. How many people lost loved ones, didn't know if they were dead or alive, what happened to them, if they were tortured, if they were killed, if they ran away. Anyways, let me finish the book. Hi guys, it's later in the day. I've finished Violeta, and it was really good. Sorry about the AC, if you can hear it, it's probably super loud. But anyways, Violeta was a really good book. It was very much like spanning life, birth, love, loss, all these things. It literally talked about everything. It's a fantastic book, really well written. Just had like everything that you could ever think of in a literary fiction, a historical literary fiction. And now we're gonna move on to the next one, which is going to be Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. There was 2 people in my comments that suggested just anything by T. Kingfisher, so I figured I would read Paladin's Grace. I know that it's part of like a series. I think maybe there's like 4 books out. I will eventually probably finish the series if I end up liking this book, but I'm just gonna see how this one goes. Maybe should have started off with a standalone, but oh well. I've just heard a lot of good things about this book. This specifically out of T. Kingfisher's books has been on my TBR for a really long time, so I'm just gonna give this one a try.
Yeah.
And Ray is still reading the Hail Mary Project.
1 page a day.
Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get to reading this. I will give you guys some updates. I have literally no idea what it's about, so I will give you the updates tomorrow once I've read a little bit more and maybe have a grasp of what the heck is going on. Hello, I have read a little bit more of Paladin's Grace, and it seems as though it's a little bit of a fantasy romance, which I'm really excited about because I wasn't sure if there was going to be romance in it. I've gotten like maybe 30 pages in, like it's pretty chill at the moment. I was at the beach today and I got a little bit more reading done, and yeah, it seems really sweet so far. The first like 5 pages I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get into it, but then like the little lightheartedness and comedy started coming out, and it seems really cool so far. It's about a paladin. There's like a bunch of gods and saints that exist, and like immediately, like this is the first thing you find out in the book, is that the guy, Steven, the main guy character, his saint dies. I don't really know exactly how, why, whatever, but basically that's what happens, and then he ends up going to live at some other saint's quarters, monastery, kind of religious deal, whatever. And he's just like kind of basically, because they were like the brutes saints essentially, the brutes of this one saint, that's really, yeah, because they were kind of like the brute paladins of like this brutish saint. They are kind of like the higher security guards at this point in this town. So he's like going on this little mission, and he meets this girl, and this is all happening within the first like 20 or 30 pages, so I promise I'm not spoiling anything. That's basically just like the concept so far. I don't really know what they're gonna get up to, what's gonna go on, what's happening, but it's really interesting so far. And the girl main character is named Grace, so that's interesting. I just assumed that it was Paladin's Grace because grace is usually like a religious thing, like the grace of God or like whatever. That's what I thought it was gonna be, but nope, there's a girl. Her name is Grace, so that'll be cute and fun, and we'll see how it goes, where it goes. I'm excited, and I have a fishy feeling that I'm gonna want to read the other 3 books after this. So, you know, it's fine. It is what it is. I'm not mad about it. Guys, I'm 67% into the book, and I'm obsessed. I've been getting like the 5-star flutteries all day. I love this book. It is such a good fantasy romance, like probably the best I've ever read. And to be fair, I haven't read that many fantasy romances, so like don't hold that in too high of esteem. But I've read a lot of romances, and I've read a couple of fantasies. Anyways, love it. Having a great time. It's so cheeky and like funny. I've been like just giggling and kicking my feet the whole time that I've been reading it so far. I'm just having such a good time. I'm enjoying it so much. It's kind of like an interconnected standalone series. There's 4 books out right now, and I think there's gonna be 7 in total. It's kind of like, imagine the Bridgerton, where it's like each sibling gets a book. Each paladin gets a book that is in the Saint of Steel order. So I'm really excited. Because I was looking at the tags for the other books, and it's all like fantasy romance, and then one of them said fantasy romance LGBTQIA, so I'm like, we get a gay one, I'm so excited. Anyways, whoever suggested this, actually 2 people suggested me to read T. Kingfisher books. So whoever suggested for me to read T. Kingfisher, mwah, I love you. Thank you so much, truly from the bottom of my heart. I'm having such a good time. Love it. So I finished it a couple days ago. I haven't had the chance to sit down and talk to you guys about it, and I loved it. It was so cute. It was so fun. It was kind of like there was some elements of mystery, there was some elements of romance, obviously fantasy because it's taking place in like kind of medieval times. The one thing is though, I really had the 5-star flutteries the whole time up until just about the ending, because there was a little something about the end with the whole mystery part that is involved that just fell a little bit flat for me. I don't want to get into too much detail because I really don't want to spoil anything, but it felt a little bit like, oh, it's, and then it's okay, oh, yeah, okay, all right, fine, sure. And if you've read the book, then that will make sense to you, but if you haven't, don't worry about it. Read the book. I really enjoyed it other than that, which makes me really sad, which is why I don't know if I'll be able to give it 5 stars, because there was just, it left me wanting a little bit more with some of the aspects of this book. And that's okay, because not all books can be absolutely perfect, but this one was pretty darn close in my personal opinion. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I didn't even get to film any B-roll of me reading it because I just freaking devoured it from the last clip till now. I was just like, I just literally devoured it. So let me give you my reviews for all 3 books now. The moment you've all been waiting for, probably. Okay, so The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I am going to give that book a 4.5 stars. It was a great book. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of mysticism and theatricality in that book that I really enjoyed. It was very atmospheric. I felt like there was like a little through line of a plot going on with a little thread of romance in there, a little thread of like mysteriousness. I wouldn't necessarily call it a mystery, although we didn't 100% know what was going on for some parts of it. I just really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I enjoyed the vibes. I had a good time while reading it, and I would definitely recommend that book if you like romance, fantasy. It was just a lot of fun. It was very atmospheric, very cool. It's definitely on the slow to medium pace, which is why it's 4.5 for me, because the beginning, it was a tiny bit hard for me to get into. The beginning took me like a week to read less than 100 pages, and then the last couple of 100 pages I just like read really fast, but I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. Next is gonna be my review for Violeta by Isabel Allende, and that was a really wonderful book as well. Definitely on the slow to medium pace. If you like historical fiction, read this book. If you are into politics, read this book. If you are interested in South American culture and like how people down there live their lives, read this book. It was really well written, super interesting, spanning this woman's life of 100 years, her writing letters to a family member at the ends of her life. And it's just really interesting because she kind of like touches on the politics that go on at the time, how that affects her and her family, all the friends and people that she's met along the way. And there are people from all over the place. There's political activists in her family. There's like runaway whatevers in her family. There's just, you know, lots of different kinds of people that she meets along the way, and like everyone is such a character. It's all very interesting. I will say, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the beginning is very much pandemic heavy, just like the first little bit, because it goes in like kind of decades or like 20-year chapters. So each like section of the book is in like a 20-year chunk essentially, or like a 10-year chunk. It kind of depends on how she breaks it up, but the first chapter is like kind of about the pandemic and like introducing her family and everything. So that's just something to note if you're gonna go into that. And then yes, it definitely does go into a lot of stuff that happens in South America in various different countries in terms of the rise and fall of dictatorship, fascism, American interventionism, all that kinds of stuff, and how it affects people's lives and how it affected people's lives, and kind of the varying degrees of how that kind of played out. So if that's something that you just don't really want to emotionally deal with right now, that is totally fine. Just letting you know that is discussed for sure in the book. And I thought it was done really, really well. For me, now I'm like second guessing my rating, I mean. Because the thing is, it was really well written, but it was definitely on the slower side, which for me, personally, it's hard for me to get into slower atmospheric books. When I read a book, I just kind of want to devour the book, honestly. But that's just me personally. So if you like the more kind of slow burn, whatever, there were definitely parts of it that I was like, oh my God, I need to keep listening. I have my phone up to my ear because like I listened to it via audiobook, which was actually such a cool experience. I would actually highly recommend doing that. It was a little bit harder for me to keep getting back into. I was like reading other books at the same time that I was listening to it as well. Not the phone with the frickin'. Anyways, so for that reason, and also the fact that historical fiction is sometimes a hit or a miss for me, this one checked a lot of boxes. But in terms of the kind of books that I normally prefer to read and blah, 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 whatever, I think I'm gonna give this book a 4 stars, which I'm acting so dramatically like 4 stars is a bad rating. I really enjoyed this book and I thought it was very good. I definitely highly recommend it. It was just not one of those books that like got their hooks into me and like did not let me go. I was very much able to kind of come in and out of this book at my own leisure, which some people really like that when they're looking for a book. So if that's your kind of vibe, highly recommend. And the final book is Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. I think I'm gonna give this book a 4.75. I was so close to a 5-star rating, but again, the ending, something about it just fell a tiny bit flat for me because certain things were wrapped up in certain ways that made me feel a little questionable. Obviously, it's part of a series, so like whatever, but each romance is like in its own book. So like there's a through line plot that's going on. So like half a bow was wrapped up on the through line plot and like a full bow was wrapped up on the romance plot. So there's just something about the ending that was just not quite sitting right with me. But that's not to say that it wasn't a fantastic book, because it really was. Loved the banter. It was so witty, so cute, so cheeky. I was literally giggling like at work, out loud, on the train, all over the place. I was just like, tee, like reading my Kindle, like tee, like I was just giggling. Like I can't lie, I've already recommended this book to like 3 of my friends. So I'm gonna recommend it to all y'all besties, and I 100% recommend this book if you are into fantasy, romance. Just give the mystery part a little bit of a pass. Don't worry about it. and then maybe continue reading the series. I've only gotten about 30 to 50 pages into the second book, and so far it's fine. But in general, I really like the way that T. Kingfisher writes. To the 2 people in my comments that recommended T. Kingfisher, thank you, because I have just found an author that I am freaking obsessed with, and I'm so excited to read her other stuff. So with that, I think that concludes episode 2 of reading books that my subscribers have recommended to me. The reason why this video was so close and back to back with the other video that I posted is because I was going to maybe do 4 books in the first one, including the night circus, but then I kind of just ran out of time and I had to post it for like my upload schedule and everything. So I ended up just continuing on to finish this video so that I could have another one out. So you might have to wait a little bit longer before you get another subscriber recommended reading vlog, but I have lots of other reading vlog ideas waiting for you guys, waiting for me to read the books to share with you guys my thoughts. I think the next one, to get you a little bit excited for the freaking garbage fire that it's going to be, I read Colleen Hoover So You Don't Have To reading vlog, and it's gonna be a spoiler reading vlog of me reading and cringing my way through the It Ends With Us, It Starts With Us duology, I think. So I'm gonna do a whole disclaimer on that video separately, but this is no shade to the people that genuinely enjoy Colleen Hoover books. I just don't think that they're gonna be for me. I can already feel it in my bones. So I'm just gonna read them and let you guys know what I think. Okay, that's all. Don't worry about it. So that's all for this video. I'm really excited for the next one. Excited and scared, if I'm being completely honest. So definitely stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the other reading vlogs. I feel like I'm low-key coming into my booktuber era because there's only so many updates I can give about a no-buy year, you know what I mean? And I really love reading. That's like all I'm doing now. For summer, like I've literally devoured so many books this summer already. I'm in like such a reading mood right now. I'm like totally, whatever the opposite of a slump is, that's what I'm in right now. So I'm taking advantage. I'm reading as much as I can. I'm just going for it. So please enjoy. And with that, I will say goodbye. And until the next one, I'm sending you all my love because we're all just trying our best out here, okay? Keep reading and stay cute, okay? Bye!